Okay. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यामुनतीरवनचारी यामुनतीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव श्री श्री राधा माधव जी की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्ण। anything from here. So thank you very much, dear devotees, for kindly being present here today. I am once again thankful to all the senior devotees here at Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhav Mandir, and to all those who are present here today. Today I'll try to speak on a very relevant topic to our spiritual life, which is japa, kirtan and smaran, because these are the three practices which are most relevant to our spiritual life. First is japa, second thing is kirtan, third thing is smaran. We'll try to see what are the differences and similarities between these, and we'll try to understand what are the exact definitions of these. But before we do that, the tradition is to begin with Mangalacharan. So I will begin with Mangalacharan. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. So the topic that I want to speak about is japa, kirtan and smaran. These are the three limbs of our bhakti that are very important to us in our spiritual life. Very practical, and it seems very easy that we are performing every day japa. And what is it in these three limbs that we should study or understand in detail? So if we try to study these limbs in detail, there are a lot of details which will help us improve our japa very much, our kirtan very much, and our smaran very much. So dear devotees, I would like to begin with a statement by Srila Prabhupada. In the introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada is making a statement, and I would like to begin with that statement. Prabhupada says, so Lord Krishna's instruction to Arjuna to remember me, and Lord Chaitanya's injunction to always chant the names of Lord Krishna are the same instruction. There is no difference, because Krishna and Krishna's names are non-different. In the absolute status, there is no difference between reference and referent. Therefore, we have to practice remembering the Lord always 24 hours a day by chanting His names and molding our life's activities in such a way that we can remember Him always. So, Srila Prabhupada, in this introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is, he says very clearly that we have to mold our life in such a way that we can remember Krishna 24 hours a day. See, our society has a very specific name, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada could have named the society International Society for Chanting Krishna's Name. But Prabhupada named the society International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Most important thing being that Bhagavan Shri Krishna should be within our consciousness, Smaran. So what is japa, what is kirtan, and what is smaran? This we should try to understand. So there are three limbs of our bhajan which are very important. So we will try to remember these three because the presentation is about these three. So kindly repeat after me. The first limb is, please repeat, japa. Second is kirtan. Third is smaran. So we will begin with what is japa, what is kirtan, what is smaran. So first and foremost, we should learn to define what is japa. Japa is an activity which we are doing every single day. So can anybody here please try to define what japa is? How do we define japa? Silent chanting of the names of the Lord. Yes. Okay. Sound meditation. Yes. Okay. So very nice. Anybody else would also like to contribute? These are all very good definitions, and these definitions are all correct. Yes, Prabhu. Using our senses in a favorable way to chant the holy names of the Lord. Yes. This is also a very good definition. So in this way we can define japa from many angles, and there is a traditional definition of japa which has been given in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So I will specify this traditional definition of japa. This definition of japa is in a very old Gaudiya Vaishnava manual called Gaur Govinda Archan Smaran Paddhati. It is by Sri Dhyana Chandra Goswami, and his book is widely respected. Our Acharya Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they widely quoted from this manual, Gaur Govinda Archan Smaran Paddhati. And in this Gaur Govinda Archan Smaran Paddhati, he has defined what is japa. So I will sing the definition. Can you try to hear and repeat after me? Yes, it's not in Veda-based folio, but you have to hear and repeat after me as much as possible. Alright? So kindly hear and kindly repeat after me. This is the definition of japa as given in Gaura Govinda Archan Smaran Paddhati. Mano madhye sthito mantro mantra madhye sthitam manah mano mantra samayuktam etad hi japalakshanam. See, when anything is to be defined, we have to give lakshana, characteristics. So, what is the characteristics of japa? Mano madhye sthito mantro. So, the mantra should be situated in one place. Dear devotees, where should the mantra be situated? Mantra should be situated in the mind. Mantra madhye sthitam manah. And the mind should be situated somewhere. Where should the mind be situated? In the mantra. The mantra situated in the mind and the mind situated in the mantra. Mano mantra samayuktam. So this seamless combination of mind and mantra. Etadhi, this itself is japa lakshanam. This is the characteristic of japa. So very simple. Mano madhye sthito mantro, mantra madhye sthitam manah. Mano mantra samayuktam, etadhi japa lakshanam. All right. The mantra firmly situated in the mind firmly situated in the mantra. Such a seamless connection of the mind and mantra is the characteristic of ideal japa. So now, dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada, whenever Prabhupada would speak about japa, and devotees say that Prabhupada used to say that japa means chant and hear. Yes, many times if you ask devotee what was Prabhupada's opinion about japa, devotees will clearly say, Prabhupada used to say chant and hear. But it is also important to note that Prabhupada did not simply say chant and hear. Prabhupada's statement was chant and hear attentively. So this adverb, kriya visheshan, attentively, should be added always. Whenever we say chant and hear, so we should also add one detail. What detail should we add? Attentively. It's very important to do that. Why? Because sometimes we hear, but we don't hear attentively. For example, there are many vehicles passing on the street, and if we are sitting somewhere near the street, we may hear the vehicles. But do we hear each and every vehicle attentively? No. So, but that is inattentive hearing. And there is a quote by Srila Prabhupada in a lecture that he gave on Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada spoke about hearing. So a devotee asks a question to Srila Prabhupada. He says, Prabhupada, when we first got to chant Hare Krishna, a way to concentrate is to just concentrate on the vibration. Should we try to strive for, and Prabhupada cuts him in between and says, no, concentrate on the vibration. Simply hear. It is very easy. If I say Hare, you can hear, and Prabhupada says, even without concentration. It is so easy. Devotee says, but, and then Prabhupada again cuts him and says, but if you hear attentively, then that is required. So it's very important that not only should we chant and hear, but we should chant and hear attentively. What is the difference between chanting and hearing and chanting and attentive hearing? Can anybody tell me what is the difference between these two things? Okay. Okay. That's even if I am not attentive, the syllables enter into my ear. Do they not enter into my ears? Obviously they enter into my ears. Suppose I am inattentive. Still I am chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So the syllables are entering into my ears. So am I not listening to what I am chanting? Obviously I am listening. So what is the meaning of attentive listening? Listening and understanding. Mind is focused. So yes, this important point is there. Prabhuji, your name? Amritanand Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Chanting and listening requires only two sense organs. One is the mouth, one is the ear. Chanting and listening, hearing attentively requires how many sense organs? 3. Mouth, ear and mind. These 3 are required. So it's very important that when we chant, we should also not only include our ear, but also include our mind. That's very important. So chant and hear attentively. That's very important. So 3 sense organs are required: mouth, ears and mind. And if that is there, then we can chant and hear attentively. So this is like a tripod. Even if one of them is missing, then japa remains incomplete. Once again, what is japa? Mano madhye sthito mantro, mantra madhye sthitam manah, mano mantra samayuktam, etadhi japa lakshanam. Very simple. Mantra situated in the mind, mind situated in the mantra. Such a seamless combination of mind and mantra is the characteristic of ideal japa. Very simple. Now, I said there are three limbs of attentive japa. What are the three limbs? Mouth, ears, mind. So I'd like to show a verse, and if you have this verse on the folio, you can pull it up. Can we show a verse on the screen? Sure. Can we? No. I am saying from the folio or from some website, can we show a verse? Huh? Yeah, from Veda base. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela 1.99. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela 1.99. So, this is a very nice glorification of chanting the holy names. I will sing this verse. Do some of you have this verse in front of you? Yes? I will try to sing it. Please repeat after me. Tunde ताण्डविनीरतिं वितनुते तुण्डावली लब्धये नावली लब्धये कर्णक्रोडकडम्बिनी घटयते कर्णार्बुदेभ्यः स्पृहाम् चेतः प्राङ्गणसङ्गिनी विजयते सर्वेन्द्रियाणां कृतिम् नो जाने जनिता कियद्भिरमृतैः कृष्णेति वर्णद्वयी So let's look at the verse. The verse is very sweet. Srila Rupa Goswami is glorifying Krishna's name. How do we know? The last line, the last two words are Krishneti Varna Dvai. See, in a Sanskrit verse, what are you glorifying? That is kept a secret till the very end. So you will read through the first three lines and you are thinking, oh, what is being glorified? What is being glorified? At the very end, the author tells you what is being glorified is Varna Dvai, two syllables. And these two syllables are what? Krishna. Varna Dvai. This is like a two-syllable lady. Varna Dvai, not Varna Dvaya. It is Varna Dvai, two-syllable lady. Krishna iti. So, I think we can keep the verse on the screen so devotees can see. Okay. So, Sri Rupa Goswami says, Krishna iti varna dvai. I am going to glorify these two-syllable lady, Krish and Na. Please glorify. So Sri Rupa Goswami says, Tunde. Tunde means the mouth. When this lady enters into which sense organ? Mouth. Tunde. What does it do? Tandavini. It starts dancing around. Dear devotees, this lady is nothing but two syllables. What are the two syllables? Krishna. When she enters into the mouth, she starts dancing in the room of the mouth, in the hall room of the mouth. And Ratim Vitanute. It starts distributing happiness. Let's say somebody, an expert dancer comes here and starts dancing. Does the dancer, it will go in each and every corner while dancing. Does the dancer not distribute happiness to the audience? Yes. Ratim vitanute. Now somebody may ask, inside the mouth, who is sitting inside the mouth? Are there any individual sitting inside the mouth, dear devotees? The holy name is dancing where? Inside the. Are there any individual sitting inside the mouth? Yes. Who are the individuals? Dear devotees, there are dvijas sitting inside the mouth. What is a dvija? What is the meaning of the term dvija? Twice born. There are 32 dvijas sitting in the mouth. I hope you are able to understand. Huh? Because another meaning of dvija is teeth. How many times do teeth take birth? Twice. So the holy name dances amongst 32 dvijas, distributes happiness. If you have a full set of. So after dancing, every dancer receives a paritoshik. You know what is a paritoshik? A gift. So this dancer, after she dances between 32 dvijas, what gift does she expect? So Rupa Goswami says, Tundavali labdhaye. It prays that you give me the gift of many more mouths, similar mouths to dance. I hope you are able to understand. So when this two-syllable lady, Krishna, enters into the mouth, she dances everywhere in the mouth. She distributes happiness, ratim vitanute. And what does she want in return as a gift for her dancing? Tundavali. Many more such mouths. Now, Karna Kroda, when she enters into the Kroda, the holes of the ear holes, what happens? Kadambini. She immediately starts sprouting like Kadambi shak. What is Kadambi shak? Water spinach. Now what is water spinach? Water spinach is one specific type of spinach which grows so vigorously that it doesn't leave even half an inch of space to grow. If you give it space, it will immediately grow. The Karna Kroda, when it enters into the ear holes, Kadambini Ghatayate, it immediately sprouts like the Kadambi shak, like the water spinach. Okay, and after doing so, what does she desire? Karnarbudebhyah spriya. Arbuda, 10 million ears she desires. Because what does the water spinach desire? It has exhausted all its space for growing. What does the water spinach desire? More space. So it desires millions of more years for similar growth. Finally, when this two-syllable lady, Chetah Prangana, when it enters the courtyard of the mind and the heart, Sangini, it becomes a companion. She becomes a companion of the soul. She becomes the companion, wife of the soul. And when she becomes a wife, Grihini, Vijayate Sarvendriyanam Kritim, just like the housewife takes over the activities of the entire house. Similarly, this lady takes over the activities of all the senses of the body. Vijayate, she takes over the activities of all the senses of the body. No jane, Rupa Goswami says, I do not know. Janita kiyad bhir amritai. How many varieties of nectar have gone into the production of these two syllables? What are these two syllables? Krishna. Now somebody may say, why have I invoked this verse? Because I was speaking about japa. And I said attentive japa means there should be three organs, sense organs aligned together. Which three sense organs? Mouth, ears, mind. See the first word of the first line. What is the first word of the first line? Tunde. Tunde refers to what? See the first word of the second line. Karna. It refers to the ears. What is the first word of the third line? Chetaha. It refers to the mind and the heart. I hope you are able to understand. So even Srila Rupa Goswami, where did I get it from? I make this up. My mouth, ear, and mind. I took it from one source. Which source is that? Srila Rupa Goswami. It is originally coming from him. So Srila Rupa Goswami says that the holy name has to have an effect on how many senses? 3 senses. So this is what is japa. Now japa has these 3 senses. Now we should also understand that our acharyas, previous acharyas, have said that japa is not of one single type. In fact, japa is of how many types? 3 types. So what are the 3 types of japa? Please hear carefully. The 3 types of japa, please repeat after me. First is known as vachika japa. Second is known as upamshu japa. Third is known as manasika japa. What is vachika japa? What is upamshu japa? What is manasika japa? Please hear carefully. First and foremost is vachika japa. What is vachika japa? Audible, loud japa is known as which japa? Vachika. Please hear the characteristics of vachika japa. In vachika japa, the mouth should clearly move. Okay, and the tongue should clearly move. We should not only be able to hear our own voice, somebody else should also be able to hear. It should be loud enough for a second person to hear. This type of japa, in which the mouth is clearly moving and the tongue is clearly moving and another person can also hear our japa. This type of japa is known as which japa? Vachika japa. This is the first type of japa. Second type of japa is upamshu japa. What is upamshu japa? In upamshu japa, our lips move very slowly. Tongue moves very slowly. We should be able to hear almost the entire mantra, but should be able to understand whatever we are muttering. I hope you are able to understand. Sometimes we may not even be able to hear ourselves completely. But we should be able to hear only ourselves. A second person should not be able to hear us. I hope you are able to understand. This type of japa is known as which japa? Upamshu. Short and sweet. Japa which is performed so softly that only one can hear oneself. One can understand oneself. That type of japa is known as which japa? Upamshu. Now let me give an example of vachika japa. Vachika japa is very simple. I take my bead bag, I put my hand in my bead bag, and when I am chanting, then I can very easily chant in a vachika manner. So vachika japa is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This type of japa where a second person could hear me is known as which japa? Vachika. Mouth was moving, tongue was moving, a second person can hear me. Upamshu. Now since I am speaking on the mic, you will be able to hear me. But if I was not on the mic, you would not be able to hear me. So this type of japa is known as which japa? Upamshu. Lips move slowly. Only I should be able to hear myself. A second person should not be able to hear me. This is known as upamshu japa. Now comes the third type of japa. What is the third type of japa? Manasik japa. What is manasik japa? Please hear very carefully. In manasik japa, mouth should remain absolutely closed. The tongue may vibrate a little bit inside, but mouth should not open. Eyes should remain closed. And one should recite using the tongue, but there should be no sound coming. And one should visualize the syllables in the mind. I hope you are able to understand. This type of japa is known as which japa? Manasik. Now I will chant loudly. None of you repeat. You close your eyes. When I chant, in your mind, you just see the syllables and try to chant in a manasik manner. I hope you are able to understand. We'll do one mantra like this. Alright, let's close our eyes. Let's do one instance of manasik japa. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dear devotees, this is which type of japa? Did the mind get a chance to escape anywhere else? No. I hope you are able to understand. You eliminated one sense organ. Which sense organ did you eliminate? Ear. You are hearing me, but if you do it this yourself, you will not even hear yourself, because you will be chanting using the mind and hearing using the mind. And you will be focused on what? On visualizing the syllables. Will you allow the mind to escape? No. Because as soon as the mind escapes, it is no longer Mansik Japa. This type of japa is called Mansik Japa. Now somebody may say, is this type of japa allowed in our society, ISKCON? Because we have not heard of it, right? So, of course, it is performed even in our society, but only those who have received second initiation. Those who have received second initiation, how do they chant their mantras for second initiation? Vachik or Upamshu or Mansik? How do they chant? Mansik. They chant in a Mansik manner. So they chant within their mind. So even within our society, ISKCON, Mansik Japa is performed, but it is performed only with second initiation mantras. First initiation mantra, that is Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is performed in either Vachik manner or which manner? Upamshu. I hope you are able to understand. So, Hari Bhakti Vilas says, Shreyan Syad Uttarottaraha. What is the meaning? Hari Bhakti Vilas, it says Shreyan Syad Uttarottaraha, which means the latter variation of japa is better than the previous one. Which means Upamshu is better than Vachik, and Manasik is better than Vachik as well as Upamshu. This is the instruction of Hari Bhakti Vilas. Now somebody may get confused and said, no, but we have heard that we should chant so that others will also be benefited. How many of us have heard this instruction? Yes, all of us have heard. We should chant so that others can also hear, and they should be benefited. This should be our japa. So Sri Sanatan Goswami knows this thing, knows that many devotees think like this. So Sri Sanatan Goswami has already addressed this in his commentary. In his commentary to this section of Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sri Sanatan Goswami says, and please hear carefully, Sri Sanatan Goswami says, Vachika Upamshu Manasika Bhedena. I have given three divisions. What are the three divisions? Vachika, Upamshu, Manasika. Trividhasya Japasya Madhye, in these three types of japa, Ishad Oshtha Chalanena, where lips are slightly moving, Shanair Ucharano, and only you can hear yourself. So when the lips are slightly moving and only you can hear yourself, which type of japa is that? Upamshu. He says, Upamshu Japo Atra Grahya. Actually, he gives his opinion. According to me, the best japa, most ideal japa is which japa? Upamshu. Somebody may ask Sanatan Goswami, why do you say like this? Why don't you believe that chanting loudly is more beneficial? So Sri Sanatan Goswami then gives a very important siddhanta. Vachikasya kirtan antargatatvat. If you chant loudly, it no longer remains in the domain of japa. It enters into the domain of what? Kirtan. I hope you are able to understand. As soon as you chant loudly, it is japa. It is Vachik Japa. But Vachik Japa is overlapping with another Anga of Bhakti. Which Anga of Bhakti is it overlapping with? Kirtan. And he says, Manasikasya cha Smaranatmakatvat. And if you do Manasika Japa, it is also Japa. But it is overlapping with another limb. Which limb is it overlapping with? Smaran. What is our today's topic? Japa, Kirtan and Smaran. Therefore, there should be a distinction between Japa and Kirtan. Otherwise, should we interchangeably use the term Japa and Kirtan? No. The Acharyas have drawn a clear border between these two. What is the clear border? That actually 100% unmixed Japa, unmixed with Kirtan or Smaran, is only one type of Japa. Which type of Japa is that? Upamshu. As soon as you chant loudly, that is also Vachik Japa. But Vachik Japa means Japa has become mixed with what? As soon as you chant mentally, that is also Japa. But that Japa has become mixed with what? So 100% 24 karat gold without any mixture of any other limb of bhakti. That is which type of japa? Upamshu japa. This one should understand. I hope you are able to understand. So we should have our purpose clear in our mind. What do we want to do? Do we want to perform japa or do we want to perform kirtan? If we perform loud japa, we are actually entering into which category? Kirtan. Now, our other previous acharyas also follow the same line of thought. In the Prema Vivarta, which is a scripture written by Sri Jagadananda Pandit, there is a very nice verse which explains the difference in one single line. I will try to sing this line. Can you try to hear and repeat after me? Okay? Please repeat after me. Laghu chare japa hai, उच्चारे कीर्तन, लघु उच्चारे जप है. What is लघु उच्चार? Soft utterance. Laghu uchare. With soft utterance, it becomes known as what? Japa hai. Uchare. Audible utterance becomes what? Kirtan. I hope the difference is clear. Laghu uchare japa hai. Uchare kirtan. Now, Hari Bhakti Vilas says, when it comes to japa, softer is better. What is better? Softer. When it comes to kirtan, however, acharyas say what is better, softer or louder? Louder. So whenever you hear instructions that louder is better, you are actually hearing instructions about what? Japa or kirtan? Kirtan. And whenever you are hearing instructions that softer is better, you are hearing instructions about japa. So please draw this distinguishing line between japa and kirtan. Because sometimes devotees chant their 16 rounds and then they say, I have performed my yuga dharma. I hope you, hai na? I have performed yuga dharma. What is the yuga dharma? Japa or kirtan? Sankirtan. Actually, loud audible glorification of Krishna's name, form, pastimes, qualities. That is the yuga dharma. I hope you are able to understand. So, yuga dharma is kirtan. Is japa not kirtan? Japa has many qualities common with kirtan, but japa has its own definition. Actually, japa means which type of japa? Upamshu japa. That is actually japa which has no mixture of any other limb of bhakti. That is Upamshu japa. Chaitanya Bhagavat. I will sing this verse. Kindly hear carefully. जपीले श्री कृष्ण नाम आपन से तरे, उच्च संकीर्तने पर उपकार करे. Japile Shri Krishna Nam. When one does japa of Shri Krishna Nam, apana se tare. One delivers whom? One's own self. Uchcha Sankirtane. But when one does loud Sankirtan, para upakar kare. One bestows benefit upon others. See the clear difference in the mindset. So, the clear difference in the mindset is devotee should be very clear what he wants to do. Do I want to benefit others or do I want to benefit myself? If the aim is to benefit others, then we should perform which anga? Kirtan. If the aim is to benefit oneself, then we should perform which anga? Sometimes devotees think, I will sit in japa circle and I will benefit others. I hope you are able to understand. So, like if suppose Srinivas Sharan Prabhu is friend with me, and Prabhu, today we will sit in japa circle. Okay. So he came thinking, I am a good friend. So I am thinking today I will give him the benefit of real japa. And he is sitting in front of me. He is trying to focus on his own sound. Instead of allowing him to focus on his own sound, I am suppressing his own sound. And I am Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Srinivas Charan Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Baba, whose three organs have to be in alignment? My or his? Or my mouth and his ears have to be in alignment? What has to be in alignment? So his mouth, his ears and his mind has to be in alignment. Instead of allowing him to do that, I am enforcing my japa on him. So I am thinking that in my benefit to already I have done. Now I am so glorious that he will be the receiver of my benefit. So this thought process is not good for somebody who wants to perform japa. And Srila Prabhupada also many times did not like such japa. I am quoting from a book by His Holiness Satswarup Das Goswami Maharaj. This book is called You Cannot Leave Boston. So if in the Veda base, latest Veda base, you will find it in the biographies of Srila Prabhupada. This one is called You Cannot Leave Boston. So if you want to note down the name, and you will find this quote inside this. I am speaking the quote, please hear carefully. So Maharaj describes, in order to hear the holy name distinctly, the devotees would have to vibrate some sound. In the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 17.32, Prabhupada writes that chanting is simple, but it has to be taken seriously. Prabhupada mentions how the lips should move and we should hear our own sound vibration. Prabhupada used the word silent to indicate soft. He said, however, that loud or soft, our chanting should not disturb the spiritual master. Prabhupada became annoyed on occasion with his servants, secretaries, and other devotees for chanting too loudly when he was trying to work. When we chant, we have to learn to be simultaneously attentive and considerate towards others. So, this happened even with Prabhupada. Like at night, 2 o'clock, Prabhupada is doing his translation work. And some devotee is thinking, I will chant so that Prabhupada can hear. So they are loudly chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And Prabhupada got annoyed. What are you doing? I am trying to work on my translation here. So even Srila Prabhupada liked which type of chanting? Soft. When he says silent, what does he mean? Soft. So this we should keep in our mind. That when we are doing our japa, our aim in our mind should be clear. Am I doing this for my benefit or am I doing this for somebody else's benefit? If that is clear in our mind, then we know what type of japa to perform. So in our ISKCON society, we can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in two ways, Vachika and Upamshu. Both ways are allowed by Srila Prabhupada himself. So we should decide the purpose and we should chant according. Jai. Shri Radha Neelamadhav Ji ki Jai. Now, I hope everybody understood what is japa. So let's move on to the next limb which we were going to discuss. After japa comes what? Kirtan. How is Kirtan defined? So Kirtan is defined in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami himself. First and foremost, I would like to take some definitions of Kirtan from all of you. Like I took definitions of japa, I would like to take definition of Kirtan. So can anybody tell me what is Kirtan? Glorifying the Lord loudly. Very nice, Prabhuji. Okay. Anybody else would like to also speak something about what is? Very nice. Glorifying the names and pastimes of the Lord. Okay. So this definition is aligning, both of you is aligning closely with Srila Rupa Goswami's definition in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I will recite the definition. Please hear and repeat after me. This is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 145. Eastern Division, second wave, verse 145. Please hear and repeat. नाम लीला गुणादीनाम् उच्चैर्भाषा तु कीर्तनम्. Very simple. Nama, Leela, Guna, Adi. Nama means name, Leela means pastimes, Guna means qualities, Adi means dham, associates. uh, Of all these, Uchchair Bhasha, loud glorification, becomes known as what? Kirtanam. Uchchair Bhasha to Kirtan. This is definition of Kirtan. This means Kirtan, the scope of Kirtan is very vast. Why? A person who is sitting on the Vyasasana and giving a Bhagavatam class, he is also performing what? Kirtan. I hope you are able to understand. It's not that simply the person who is chanting the names loudly is performing Kirtan. A person who is glorifying the qualities loudly is also performing Kirtan. A person who is repeating the pastimes of the Lord loudly is also performing Kirtan. So the person who is sitting and giving Bhagavatam class is also performing Kirtan. The person who is distributing books and telling other people what is in the book, that person is also performing what? Kirtan. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur named it Brihat Mridanga, because Mridanga is used in which limb of Bhakti? Kirtan. Obviously, it is used in Kirtan. So, it is very important to understand that any loud glorification of Bhagavan, anywhere we see, it may not have mridang and kartal every time, but any loud glorification of nama, leela, guna, etc. that we see, a devotees may organize a dance program. I hope you are able, and then in the dance program, it may be Lord Jagannath's pastime, and the devotees may be singing Geet Govindam. So this is also example of what? Kirtan. Alright. So it's not necessary that Kirtan, we should have only one image of Kirtan and this image. This is Kirtan, obviously. This is Nam Kirtan. But there is also Gun Kirtan, Roop Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, Dham Kirtan. So all these are also Kirtan. Alright. So this definition we should keep in mind. Now, if this is Kirtan, then what is Sankirtan? This should also be understood. So the definition of Sankirtan is given by Shri Jiva Goswami in the Bhakti Sandarbh. I am repeating the definition. Please repeat after me. This is paragraph. Okay, small sentence. Please repeat. Bahubhihi militva kirtanam sankirtanam iti uchyate. Bahubhir militva. When many people get together and perform which activity? Then it becomes known as what? Now, Bahubhihi is Bahuvachan in Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, there is Ekvachan, there is Dvivachan, and then there is which Vachan? Bahuvachan. Bahubhihi is Bahuvachan. In Sanskrit, how many people know where does Bahuvachan start from? Which number does Bahuvachan start from? That is Dvivachan. 3. So minimum required for Bahuvachan in Sanskrit is what? 3. Which means Sri Jiva Goswami is saying, minimum how many people should be there in order to call it Sankirtan? 3 people. If 2 people are there, then what? Then call it Kirtan. I hope you are able to understand. If 2 people are participating, call it what? Kirtan. If one person is playing Kartal, one is playing Mridanga, one is singing, then you can call it what? Sankirtan. Bahubir militva kirtanam sankirtanam iti uchyate. 3 is minimum. Don't consider it as maximum. Maximum can be everybody in the world. So that is Bahubir militva. So this is the difference between Kirtan and Sankirtan. Kirtan requires only one person speaking loudly. Sankirtan requires minimum how many people? 3 people are required. Bahubir militva. So this is the difference. So speaking Bhagavatam class is also Kirtan. Distributing book is also Kirtan. And when many people get together and perform Kirtan, many means minimum 3, then that becomes known as what? Sankirtan. So this difference should be understood. Why am I drawing such a sharp line between all of this? Because our philosophy is not only abheda, our philosophy also has what? Bheda. So we should also clearly recognize where the bheda is. Sometimes it becomes so abheda that we say japa is kirtan, is sankirtan, and everything gets mixed into one bag. Okay? So that should not happen with us. So therefore important to keep the distinction in mind. Very important. Sometimes we say chanting Krishna's name and remembering Krishna is no difference. I quoted Prabhupada's introduction to Bhagavad Gita as it is. There is no difference between chanting Hare Krishna and remembering Krishna. So then I can say I am for 16 rounds I am chanting in my mind only. Why not use this statement to my advantage? If chanting Hare Krishna and remembering Krishna are the same as Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita introduction, then I can perform a japa jap, jap without jap. A japa jap I can perform. You know what is a japa jap? The impersonalists, Brahmavadis, Mayavadis, they have a concept. They say everybody is chanting. All of you are chanting right now. Can you hear yourself chanting? No, na? But you are. You don't realize it, but you are. Once you realize it, you will become Brahma. So how are you chanting ajapa jap? So in the Upanishads there is one mantra. Soham hamsaha. Soham saha aham. That I am. What am I? Brahma. And if you revert soham, it becomes what? Ham saha. Soham hamsaha. This mantra is there in the Upanishad. Hamsaha means I am Paramhamsa. Soham hamsaha. I am that Paramhamsa who is one with Brahma. So the impersonalists say, carefully notice the sound that you make when you breathe inside. So, and when you breathe outside, I hope you are able to understand. So with every breath, you are chanting, so. Gradually, that is how you are getting liberated from this world. This is a japa jap. Which japa is this? A japa. Do you want to do like this with Hare Krishna Mahamantra? No. Therefore, important to draw the distinctive borders. There is difference between Smaran, Kirtan and japa. Very important to draw the borders. If we don't draw these borders, then after a few generations, it will all become one big khichdi and we will not be able to distinguish one from the other. The Acharyas have given the clear distinctive definitions. It's very important to note these definitions. Okay. Now Kirtan and Sankirtan is clear. Now comes Smaran. What is Smaran? Smaran is nothing but function of the mind. So to remember the name, form, quality, pastimes of the Lord. What you do with the tongue, same thing you do with the mind. That becomes known as what? Smaran. Has any Acharya given direct instruction to all of us to perform Smaran? Yes. Which Acharya has done that? Srila Rupa Goswami. Where has he done that? In Nectar of Instruction, 8th verse. So if we can pull out that verse, Nectar of Instruction, 8th verse, on our phones also we can pull out. And if those who don't have it on the phones, they can also look upon the screen. It will be shown in some time. So I will chant this verse. You can please repeat after me. तन्नाम रूप चरितादि सुकीर्तनानु स्मृत्योः क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य very simple. See, tan means his means whose? Krishna's. Tan nama means whose nama? Rupa, Krishna's form. Charita, Krishna's character. Adi, etc. Pastimes, associates, abode, whatever else. You should do two things. Tan nama rupa charitadi. Now you should do two things. What is first thing? Sukirtana. What should we first do? Sukirtana. What is Sukirtana? Su means nice. And first and foremost, we should sing nicely. After performing Sukirtana comes Anusmrityoho. Can you see? Sukirtana, Anusmriti. Anu means repeated and Smriti means what? So two activities Rupa Goswami has said. Sukirtana and what? Anusmriti. See, please note, how many activities? Two. And he says, Kramena, sequentially, respectively, engage two sense organs in this. Kramena, Rasana, tongue, Manasi, mind, Niyojya, invest. I hope you are able to understand. So, in Sukirtan, in chanting, you should invest which sense organ? Tongue. And in Anusmaran, you should invest what? Mind. Sukirtan and Anusmaran, they go with Rasana and Manasi. I hope you are able to. Rasana means tongue, Manasi means mind. So, is Nectar of Instruction not a book for new devotees? Yes or no? Yes. 8th verse, Rupa Goswami is saying, invest your mind in what? Tan Nama, Tat Rupa, Tat Charita, Tadadi. Invest your mind in all of this. So we should perform some Smaran every day. Please try to understand. And did Prabhupada say this? Yes. There is a famous statement, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Well, actually, originally the statement is from Rupa Goswami, Smartavyah Satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo na Jatuchit. 24 hours remember Krishna. Our society is also named after Smaran, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It is right there in the name of the society. If Krishna is not in our consciousness, can we be called as good members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness? Obviously not. We have seen videos of Srila Prabhupada. There is that final instruction where Srila Prabhupada is resting on a bed. The disciples are all around him. And Prabhupada says, everything that is moving by the will of Krishna. This consciousness is Krishna consciousness. This is perhaps the last recorded instruction on video of Srila Prabhupada. And then immediately after that we see all the disciples doing Kirtan, and Srila Prabhupada is, he is disappearing from this world. So that is perhaps one of the last instructions that he gave. That Krishna consciousness was one of the last terms that he uttered in his manifest pastimes. Very important to perform Smaran. Now, Smaran can be performed as a part of Vaidhi Bhakti. Which Bhakti? Vaidhi Bhakti. Don't think that Smaran is only for very advanced devotees. Smaran can be performed as a part of Vaidhi Bhakti. How to perform? Why? So, in the Navadha Bhakti, 9 types of Bhakti. What are 9 types of Bhakti? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Third is Smaranam. Are 9 limbs of Bhakti meant for Vaidhi Bhaktas? Yes or no? Yes. So, Smaranam is one of the 9 limbs of Bhakti. So, every day we should perform some Smaran. Rupa Goswami's instruction is Smartavyah Satatam. Remember Krishna how many times? Always. Is always possible for us? No. In the commentary to that verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a big discount. He says, Satatam prati aham, natu pratikshanam. Satatam means minimum once every day, not every moment. You see, big discount. Very big discount. When I read that commentary, I memorized that phrase. So I said, Arey wah, Satatam prati aham, natu pratikshanam. I make a t-shirt out of it. And they say, the front side, Smartavyah Satatam Vishnur, always remember Krishna. And the back side, always means at least once a day. Alright? So that, I felt like doing that. Why? Because it's a very good way of giving hope to the newcomers. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, otherwise newcomers cannot do 24 hours. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur doesn't say maximum 1 time per day. He says minimum once per day. Alright? Otherwise we will make that as the ceiling. I did 1 time. So now, abhi ho gaya. Satatam Smart, give me certificate. Constant remember of Krishna. That is not what it is. So, Smartavyah Satatam means for the newcomer, at least how many times a day? Once. Then those who are advanced, then do more. But only one thing, in our society, ISKCON, you can do Smaran, but ensure that your 16 rounds are done. Then you do whatever you want. I hope you are able to understand. Don't do Smaran at the expense of your japa. But that's all I want to say, nothing else. In Smaran, only one thing I want to say. You want to do Smaran? No problem. But not at the expense of reducing one's japa. So chant is 16 rounds. Then you have all the time in the day. Nobody can force you to wait. No, chant 17th round, Prabhu. Your vow is to chant how many rounds? 16. So nobody can force you chant 17th round now. Devotees may encourage, oh, chant more, chant more. But you can say, well, I have a choice. I now want to engage in another limb of bhakti. Which limb of bhakti do I wish to engage in? Smaran. Now you select. Now it's by your choice. You can do whatever you like to do. 64 limbs of bhakti are there. You can do whatever you want to do. But after you have finished your prescribed japa that is promised to the spiritual master. Nothing else. That's all I wish to say about Smaran. Because sometimes what happens, devotees become so attached to Smaran that it starts is reflecting negatively in their japa. So japa should be maintained, and then whatever extra time you have, you can perform Smaran. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Smaran is very important, especially for those who are performing Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti to I said, it is the most important limb of which Bhakti? Raganuga Bhakti. Smaran is the most important limb of Raganuga Bhakti. Where does he say this? In the Ragavartma Chandrika. He wrote a textbook simply for Raganuga Bhakti. In that textbook he says, Smaranasya atra Raganugayam mukhyatvam. In Raganuga Bhakti, the main limb of Raganuga Bhakti is what? Smaran. Why? He says Ragasya manodharmatvat. Because Raganuga Bhakti is mainly carried out through the mind. That is what he very clearly says. Does it mean that we should discount our japa and kirtan? No. In Kali Yuga, all types of bhakti should be supported by kirtan. Should be supported by which limb? Kirtan. Plus, we have promised the spiritual master that we will perform 16 rounds of what? Japa. So 16 rounds of japa, plus on regular occasions we should do some kirtan or sankirtan. We should do some kirtan, and we should also do smaran if we want to move ahead on the path of Raganuga Bhakti. How many of us here want to attain Goloka Vrindavan? Please raise your hands. Yeah? Please note that it is impossible to attain Golok Vrindavan without Raganuga Bhakti. It is impossible to attain Golok Vrindavan without Raganuga Bhakti. Where does it say? There is a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I would like to point out that verse. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 3.15. So you can have a look at the screen. It will shortly be on the screen. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 3 verse number 15. Please see and repeat after me. Sakala jagate more करे विधि भक्ति विधि भक्त्ये व्रज भाव पाइते नाही शक्ति. Now those who understand Hindi or Bangla a little bit, you know what is written there. And translation by Srila Prabhupada, we can read, it is going to say the same thing. Let's see what's the translation. Translation below says, everywhere in the world people worship me according to scriptural injunctions, vidhi, Vaidhi Bhakti. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Vrajabhumi. Which means, can we attain Golok Vrindavan through Vaidhi Bhakti? So then which is the remaining bhakti which will help us attain Golok Vrindavan? So it's very important to realize this fact. Please note down this verse, bookmark this verse, memorize the verse, make it kanthar, make it the ornament of your neck, that sakala jagate more kare vidhi bhakti vraja bhav paite nahi shakti. It is impossible to attain Golok Vrindavan if one is simply rendering Vaidhi Bhakti. It is very important to render Raganuga Bhakti in order to attain Golok Vrindavan. And Raganuga Bhakti doesn't work on the basis of a formula. Raganuga Bhakti doesn't have a fixed formula. it is dependent on only one main factor, which is called lobha. Please hear carefully. What is it required for Raganuga Bhakti? Lobha. What is lobha? Intense greed for following in the mood of an eternal Vrajvasi such as Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, Sudama, Sridama, Subal. If somebody has that intense greed to follow in the mood of a already perfected devotee, eternal Vrajvasi, that greed is called as lobha. If that greed doesn't exist in the heart, it cannot be artificially manufactured. Will it come? It will come only by Krishna's mercy. We should always pray and we should cry to Krishna to give us that lobha. Once that lobha is there, then we will progress from Vaidhi Bhakti into which Bhakti? Raganuga Bhakti. In the Raganuga Bhakti, the devotee will remember constantly Krishna's names, Krishna's pastimes, specific type of pastimes which are conducive to one's mood, etc. This is Raganuga Bhakti. Now I would like to end this Smaran section by quoting a purport from Srila Prabhupada. So I would like to show Nectar of Instruction, verse number 8 purport on the screen. So Nectar of Instruction, verse number 8. In the purport, there is a paragraph in the purport which begins with, in the neophyte stage. Below, there will be a paragraph which begins with, in the neophyte stage. Yes. So this paragraph, Srinivas Sharan Prabhu, can you read the paragraph slowly on the mic? Do you have the mic? Yeah. So we will go sentence by sentence, Prabhuji. Okay. So please pause after every sentence.
In the neophyte stage, one should always engage in hearing Krishna Katha.
Very good. When one is a new devotee, Vaidhi Bhakta, one should engage in one thing. What should one engage in hearing?
Krishna Katha.
Krishna Katha means Katha directly about Krishna. Krishna book, basically. Okay. Let's see what Prabhupada says.
This is called Shravana Dasha.
The stage of hearing.
Dasha.
Shravana Dasha, not Dasa. Shravana Dasha, the stage of hearing. So dear devotees, first stage in spiritual life is called as which Dasha? Shravana Dasha. Alright, let's move ahead. Chalo, let's go ahead.
By constantly hearing the transcendental holy name of Krishna and hearing of his transcendental form, qualities and pastimes, one can attain to the stage of acceptance called Varana Dasha.
Okay, second stage is known as which Dasha? By constantly performing Shravan, after some time devotee accepts Krishna as his main goal in life. And Krishna also accepts the devotee through initiation. Both accept each other. Varana. Have you heard Swayam Vara? Means selection. So Varana means selecting that person as the aim of one's life. And Krishna selects this devotee also. This is known as which Dasha? Varana Dasha. Okay, let's move ahead.
When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha. Okay. When one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage of Smaranavastha, the stage of remembering.
Okay, now after Varana Dasha comes Smaran Avastha. Avastha is another term for Dasha, basically. Avastha also means stage. So, Shravana Dasha, Varana Dasha, third is which Dasha? Smaran Dasha. See, Srila Prabhupada also is pointing in which direction? In the direction of Smaran. So, Smaran Dasha. Now, Prabhupada will give 5 types of Smaran now. Let's importantly understand what are the 5 types of Smaran. Okay, please read ahead.
Recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance and trance are the 5 items of progressive Krishna Smarana.
Okay. Now a lot of detail was compressed in one sentence. Okay, so let's pause here. What is the first type of?
Recollection.
These are taken from Bhakti Sandarbh of Srila Jiva Goswami. I will give the Sanskrit names. What are the Sanskrit names in the Bhakti Sandarbh? First is called as Smaran, general Smaran. Jiva Goswami says, Yatha Kathanchid Anusandhanam Smaranam. Sitting, you are anywhere you are sitting, whatever easily comes to the mind about Krishna. Don't put much effort. Whatever easily comes to your mind about Krishna. But from Shastra, don't speculate on your own. Orange colored Krishna, no, not that. Huh? Whatever naturally, easily comes to your mind, that becomes first stage of Smaran. That is in English it is translated as what? Recollection. Easy recollection. This is also first stage of Smaran. Okay, what is second stage of Smaran? Absorption. Second stage, Srila Jiva Goswami calls it dharana. Dharana means what? You specifically try to remove distractions and try to concentrate on a specific pastime of Krishna. That is known as what? Dharana. Now your effort starts. First May there was not much effort. It's just very easy. Second May your effort starts. That is called as dharana. Okay? Third is, what is the English term for the third? Meditation. Meditation. What is meditation? Remove all distractions and now focus concentratedly on one specific pastime. This is in Sanskrit, the term used is dhyana. Okay? Smaran, dharana, dhyan. Okay, fourth is what?
Constant remembrance.
Constant remembrance. The term used by Sri Jiva Goswami is dhruvanusmriti. Dhruva, constant, anusmriti, remembrance, constant fixed remembrance. Now you don't have to put much effort. The remembrance starts coming up automatically because you have practiced dharana and dhyan nicely. So dhruvanusmriti starts coming naturally. And what is the last stage of Smaran? Samadhi. What is Samadhi? Jiva Goswami says, Dhyaya matra sphuranam samadhi. When only the object of meditation remains in the mind and nothing else, that becomes known as what? Samadhi. In this stage, one should quit one's body. I hope you are able to understand. In which stage should one quit one's body? Samadhi. Anta kale cha mam eva. Ha. Very important. Eva is also, half a syllable is also important. Anta kale cha mam smaran nahi. Anta kale cha mam. What does eva mean? Only. Exclusively, only. That happens in which stage? Recollection, absorption, or samadhi? Samadhi. I hope you are able to understand. It's important to reach that stage of samadhi. Okay, so one sentence, short sentence, many details from Bhakti Sandarbh were there. Alright, let's move ahead.
At first, remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals.
Okay, let me interrupt you there. At first, remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted. He is defining the first stage, remembrance. I hope you are able to understand. Then after the comma, he goes to the second stage.
But later, remembrance proceeds uninterrupted.
Second stage, dharana. Okay, then he goes to the third stage.
When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and is called meditation.
Dhyan. Alright, then fourth stage.
When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called anusmriti.
Dhruvanusmriti, fourth stage. Okay.
By uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi or spiritual trance.
Yes, very nice. Okay, now next, please read the next.
After smarana dasha or samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to understand his original constitutional position. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna.
At this time, he receives his siddha deha. I hope you are able to understand. When does a devotee who is practicing bhakti according to our ISKCON style, when does a devotee receive his siddha deha? So he receives his siddha deha after he has perfected trance. And that is given another special name. What is the name?
That is called Sampati Dasha, the perfection of life.
See where the paragraph started. Paragraph started with which stage? Neophyte. In one paragraph, at the end we have entered into Sampati Dasha. This is my opinion. This one paragraph is one of the most important paragraphs in all the books. I am giving my opinion. Please mark this paragraph. This is one of the most important paragraphs in Srila Prabhupada's purports. Because many times we are confused how to progress. It is not told to us sometimes that the path of progress goes through Smaran. And we think sometimes we remain on the stage of Shravan Dasha or Varan Dasha and we think this is enough. But the path of progress goes through which dasha? Smaran dasha. The name of the society is also based on which dasha? Smaran dasha. And Sampatti dasha is attainable only after which dasha? Smaran dasha. I hope this is clear. So please meditate on this paragraph more and more. I tried to clarify the paragraph as much as possible, but please meditate on this paragraph. This is a very important paragraph about Smaran. Very important paragraph. So with this, dear devotees, I am concluding this today's talk on japa, kirtan and Smaran. Actually, I wanted to, if I would have had HDMI, I would have shown all the slides here and we would have chanted together. So, but I could not show all the verses, but the many verses are there. Chanting verses together has a separate joy. So, but anyways, as much as we could do today, I tried to do. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvam sah purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit. If there's any mistake in what I said, vidvamsa, you are learned people, all of you, purayantu tat. You kindly correct any mistakes. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit. If there was anything nice in what I said, a single word or a single syllable, tad guroreva. It belongs to my Guru Janas. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, so do we have time for? Yeah, we can. Yes, sure. Okay. Anybody would like to? Yes, Mataji, would you like to begin?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, I think I'll have to hear it so many times to, fully absorb the message. It was little heavy. And another thing is, we also hear that just following one path, one can attain perfection. So just by hearing also, we have those 9 examples, right? So could you please clarify on that part?
Very nice, very nice. So there is a verse in Padyavali. Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshida Bhavad Vaiyasaki Kirtane Prallada Smarane Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi Prithu Pujane Akrurastva Bhivandane Kapipatir Dasyetha Sakhyarjuna Sarvasvatma Nivedane Balirabhut Krishnaptiresham Para. So, in the 9 processes of bhakti, there are 9 devotees who perfected. Shri Vishnu Shravane, in hearing, Shravan was Parikshit Maharaj. Vaiyasaki Kirtane, in Kirtan, the perfected devotee is the son of Vyas, Shukdev Goswami. Prallada Smarane, Prahlad Maharaj perfected Smaran. Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi, Lakshmi is perfect in Padasevan. Prithu Pujane, Prithu Maharaj is perfect in Archan, because he offered 99 fire sacrifices and he offered practically the entire earth as sacrifice to Bhagwan. Akrurastva Bhivandane. Akrur is the ideal devotee for Vandana. See how he glorified Krishna when he entered into Vrindavan. Kapipatir Dasya, the lord of the monkeys, Sri Hanuman, is the ideal devotee when it comes to Dasya. Sakhya Arjuna, and in Sakhya Ras, the ideal devotee is Arjuna. Sarvasvatma Nivedana, in Atma Nivedan, the ideal devotee is Bali Maharaj. Right. But these are all mainly limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti. And with Vaidhi Bhakti, there is a limit to which one can attain. And the limit which one can attain through Vaidhi Bhakti, Rupa Goswami has said the upper limit. The max that one can attain is Dwarka. Where does he say so? Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. I memorized this verse. Riram sam sushtu kurvanyo vidhi margena sevate kevalenaiva satada mahishitvam iyat pure. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Riram sam sushtu kurvanyo. There are many people who want to love Krishna, but vidhi margena sevate kevalena. But their service is only through which marga? Vidhi margam. Mahishitvam iyat pure. At the end, the max he can become is a queen in Dwarka. That is what is the final destination, that maximum destination. He can also become lesser than that. Maximum destination is Dwarka. So all these examples which are given, so that is also perfection. Attaining Dwarka is not perfection, it is perfection. Attaining Vaikuntha is not perfection, it is perfection. But therefore I ask the question very carefully. How many want to attain Golok Vrindavan? I did not say how many want to go back to Godhead. Back to Godhead is a very vast term. Back to Godhead can also mean, anybody who just enters into the first Vaikuntha Loka, that is also back to Godhead. That person will also not fall down. But we want a specific type of destination. For that, Raganuga Bhajan is required. Smaran is very essential.
Prabhu, to follow up to this, Canto 1, when Parikshit Maharaj leaves his body, very, very clearly Prabhupada mentioned that he is going to, not exactly the word Krishna Loka, but I was very surprised when we read in Canto 1, and I think that time also I asked that question because we always hear that Pandavas are the eternal associates of Krishna. But for Parikshit Maharaj, Prabhupada has very frankly, it is mentioned that he is going back, he is an eternal associate of Krishna.
Okay.
So, if that's the case, we say that they will attain Dwarka. And in first canto, in that chapter where Parikshit Maharaj is leaving his body, there he is saying that he is a resident of Golok Vrindavan.
Okay.
So that says that with hearing also one is reaching there to that destination.
The thing is, first and foremost, we'll have to see what exactly was said.
Yeah.
Secondly, in any Vrindavan Leela, do we see a direct participation by Parikshit Maharaj? No, obviously not. We don't see Parikshit Maharaj's direct participation in Vraja Leela. So, that statement has to be checked because Parikshit Maharaj's residence is in Hastinapur, is in Indraprasth. That is where his residence is. And that is the mood of Dwarka basically. The mood of Hastinapur is not very different from the mood of Dwarka. So, if there was any such statement made, then that statement has to be carefully considered in the light of everything that the previous acharyas have also written. So, if there is some exact statement like that, if Parikshit Maharaj went to Golok Vrindavan, that too the name is mentioned, Parikshit Maharaj went to Golok Vrindavan, then we will have to see what that statement is, because for him to go to Golok Vrindavan, he needs to have an identity in Golok Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Is there any identity of Parikshit Maharaj that we know of in Golok Vrindavan? No. So, I am not sure which statement that was, but whatever it is, you can bring that statement to me and we'll definitely try to resolve it. That's not an issue. But one thing is clear, I showed you the Praman from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Through Vaidhi Bhakti, can one attain Golok Vrindavan? No, that is 100% sure. Parikshit Maharaj may definitely be having Raga Bhakti, I don't deny that. But in Siddhanta, without Raga Bhakti, one cannot go to Golok Vrindavan. This has to be noted very clearly. That Siddhanta we cannot compromise, because that is Siddhanta of our Acharyas. So we cannot say no to that Siddhanta. Through Vaidhi Bhakti, one goes to Dwarka. Through Raganuga Bhakti, it is possible to go to Golok Vrindavan. That is the Siddhanta. So you can bring the statement to me.
I will try to find it because
Sure.
I was also very much surprised when I heard that.
No worries. So
And you just now mentioned that Parikshit Maharaj may have a Raganuga Bhakti. And then you're saying that he may went to Hastinapur or to...
yeah, the destination was not clearly specified anywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when Sri Parikshit Maharaj leaves his body, what is the exact planet to which he goes. Even in the case of Bhishma Pitama, when he leaves this world, the destination is not clearly specified. In the commentary Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, I think in the commentary to 45th or 46th verse of the 9th chapter of the first canto, that Bhishma Pitama attained a planet which is called as Partha Sarthi Loka, basically, which is it is nothing but Hastinapur, where he sees Krishna, but Krishna is mainly glorified as the friend of Partha, basically as the charioteer of Partha. So that was the eternal mood of Bhishma. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says that Bhishma also, he goes back to Krishna Loka, he goes back to Parthasarthi Loka, but from time to time a Prakash Vigraha, what is Prakash Vigraha? A replica of Bhishma. Another soul occupies that replica, but a replica of Bhishma comes to perform pastimes with Krishna in the material world. So there is something called as Prakash. That's a different concept. Prakash means a replica of a particular living entity. So that replica of that living entity comes to another material world to perform pastimes with Krishna. Some other soul occupies that replica. So that is called as Prakash Vigraha. So that's a big concept in Krishna Sandarbha. So please, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Parikshit Maharaj's eternal perfection is in the mood of Hastinapur and not in the mood of Goloka Vrindavan. So that there is absolutely no doubt about that in my mind. But if still there is any statement, you can definitely show it to me.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Hari. Yes, Prabhuji.
I got a bit confused in middle. You mentioned that Parikshit Maharaj won't be able to go back to Goloka because he has to go back to a specific identity. Is that not do we have like an identity there?
Of course, you have an identity in Goloka Vrindavan. If you are practicing Raganuga Bhajan, the Nectar of Instruction 8th verse purport showed what is called as Sampatti Dasha. What is Sampatti Dasha?
Where we like constantly, it's in Samadhi, trance.
No. That was Smaran Dasha. But after Smaran Dasha, something was mentioned. I will
Perfection
read
of
again.
life.
After Smaran Dasha or Samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to understand his original constitutional position. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. That is called Sampatti Dasha. Right now, don't you understand your eternal relationship with Krishna? Do you understand?
I understand, but not realized it.
No. One minute. Do you understand what is your relationship with Krishna?
Yeah, servant.
That's a very general understanding. What is your specific relationship with Krishna?
No, I don't.
That is Sampatti Dasha. Right now, everybody is given a general nomenclature, Das. Agreed? Let me give a very esoteric point about this. Everybody is Das here. Once you get, you're not yet, once you get Diksha, you will also get which Upanam? Das. Now, with Das, you will come every morning in the temple. You will sing Tulsi Aarti. Have you sung Tulsi Aarti? Seva adhikar diye karo nija. What is happening? You are what? Das or Dasi? Tell me honestly, bro. What are you? Das or Dasi?
Das.
Huh?
Das.
Das. What are you praying for? Seva adhikar diye karo nija.
Dasi.
Arre? What is happening? Meditate sometimes on the Tulsi Aarti. A lot of secrets are there in the Sampradaya. है कि नहीं? So, a general relationship exists with Krishna. That general relationship is Das. You also want to seek a specific relationship. That is Sampatti Dasha. Okay? I hope
Yes.
more I will not reveal because it is a public class. So, okay.
Just one more question, bro. Sorry. So I wanted to know, like, what are the practical takeaways for improving the Smaran, like gradually through practice? Are there any ways?
So, like Prabhupada said, in beginning it may be interrupted. Begin with stage 1. See, somebody goes to a gym. First day 50 kgs. Next day he will not go only. I say, huh? So, first day, gradually start remembering Krishna. So, Prabhupada, how to do it? Prabhupada made a very simple way. Krishna book. Direct 10th canto. See, Prabhupada said, don't read 10th canto without reading first 9 cantos. Okay? But then Prabhupada also made a shortcut. What is the shortcut? Krishna book. Anybody who wants to read, even though he has not read 9 cantos, he can read through which book? Krishna book. Purchase Krishna book. We give to newcomers in book distribution. We giving to newcomers. Take the Krishna book. Newcomer gets Krishna book from Hare Krishna movement. So we are not newcomers, no? We are much better than newcomers. So we should read something from Krishna book every day. Then recollection. See, reading is collection, and then Smaran is what? Recollection. It's very important. So have a framework in your mind. Build a gradual framework in the mind. Gradually it will expand. Let the milk boil gradually. When you boil milk, what do you immediately raise the temperature or put on slow steam? What do you do? Why?
Slow.
If you immediately put, what will happen?
Bubble up.
Like it will, Damodar Lila will happen, you know. So boiling means slow steam. Let it take some time. Some things need time. Something most important factor in some things is time. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, I'll end here, that if you have a kacha mango on the tree, there are 2 ways you can make it pakka mango. One is pluck it from the tree and beat it with a stick. Okay, huh? Soft, mushy. And second is the natural way. What is the natural way?
Let it ripe.
Let it remain on the tree. Okay, I say. Some things need time. So not everything is instant coffee. Although Kali Yuga says perfection can be attained immediately, but some things do take some time. So go gradually, as much as you can digest. Anyways, you are doing 16 rounds, hai na? So up your basic sadhana is done. You have free time. Go ahead and do what you want. No? One time Prabhupada said one thing. Prabhupada was chanting his rounds, and Prabhupada finished his last round. So Prabhupada rolled up that last bead, and then Prabhupada rolled his bead back, and Prabhupada kept it like, now I've finished my 16 rounds, now I can do anything in the world. So anything in the world means for us, we can do Smaran. That is what I am indicating, nothing else. Anything in the world means any limb of bhakti you can perform. That's all. Simple. Okay, do your 16 rounds, you are free to do anything in the world. I say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Chalo.
Let me ask one question. Is it okay? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So 2 things. One is, I would like to know the answer for yesterday's question. So would you like to answer that?
Which question, Prabhuji?
Yesterday there was a homework, right?
That can you find any one activity that doesn't fit in the definition of Uttama Bhakti?
No.
Then?
So identify a person.
Who is unfavorable.
Yeah, who is unfavorable.
Yet is known as devotee.
Yeah.
Who is that? There is nobody. Therefore it's an open question. I said take your entire life for finding it. I thought you found somebody. No. Arey Prabhu, that was an open question, so that
No answer.
how if the answer was known, then you have successfully found a fault in the definition. That will never happen. It is checked by Nimai Pandits, so you will not find a single fault. No.
Okay. Now second thing is japa and smaran.
Right.
Most of the times we see, they overlap with each other.
Very nice.
So while doing japa, we try to remember the form of the Lordship, and so these do overlap.
Right.
So it is not allowed.
No, it's not allowed. I said no, there is nothing which is disallowed. But the thing is, if we are chanting japa, and while chanting japa, what is happening is remembrance of Krishna is coming. Sometimes remembrance comes spontaneously. Spontaneously means we didn't put any effort. Our mind is naturally attracted to a certain pastime, it came naturally. So allow it to come naturally, allow it to leave naturally also. Sometimes what devotees do is force Smaran during japa. I hope you are able to understand. That is where the problem begins. Because if you are forcing Smaran during japa, then what are you performing? Japa or Smaran? Smaran. When in fact you have devoted time to performing what? Japa. So, Sanatan Goswami's idea is skip separate ना मतलब ऐसा you have स्मरण के लिए you have ample time during the day. So devote this time to hearing. Hearing with attention. With attention means what you are speaking should also make some sense. So there is mantra artha chintanam. If you want to meditate only, then meditate on the mantra artha. What is mantra artha? Meaning of the mantra that we are chanting. So if at all you want to engage the meditative faculty in meditating upon the artha, meaning of the mantra. And let's say suppose some pastime comes, let it come spontaneously through one window and go out through another window. Sometimes it may happen that the devotee may be so advanced that while doing japa, he's entered into dhruvanusmriti. Now he can't prevent, it's spontaneously coming. Then don't try to forcibly stop it. One thing is, don't try to forcibly start it. Second thing is, don't try to forcibly stop it. Both things are unnatural. Yes. Natural is, focus on the sound. If somebody is Raganuga Bhakta, Smaran will come naturally. Then don't try to stop it because now you have advanced. Now you are getting to Samadhi Dasha. Then don't try to stop it because according to Srila Prabhupada only you are progressing now. Don't try to stop it. But as long as that it is not happening spontaneously, don't try to force it also. That is very natural. Organic growth. I hope you are able to understand. Organic growth is very important. 24 hours for Smaran. If that happens, 100% perfection guaranteed in this lifetime. Sampatti Dasha. Easy. Okay? So my suggestion is let's keep them as distinct as possible till it is possible for us. Once Smaran starts flowing, I know it overtakes all the other activities. I understand that. But let it happen naturally. Let the milk boil gradually, I say. Let's not force the milk to boil. That's it.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it's very nice class, but same time agree with Mataji, it's heavy too. And we are talking about the stages of bhakti. So as you mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, start with neophyte devotee, neophyte stage, and then it goes to perfection, right? And same times we have an example for 9 stages of bhakti, like different elevated soul example. But as I count myself, Prabhuji, I'm chanting, but it's not attentive. My mind wander here and there. I'm serving the Lord, whatever service, I'm serving, but not with attention. Same time, I have material desire, I have some family attachment, everything is there. So maybe I'll go back to Godhead, maybe 100 of lives or thousands of life or this life, I don't know. But I want to know, Prabhuji, what is the chances of it? And one more question simultaneously. As you mentioned, let's say you can enter in the first Vaikuntha Loka. So there is any chance from that Vaikuntha Loka, souls can go to the Goloka or it's not?
Okay. So first question is, if you are not able to focus on your own japa, so what is the way forward? So I'll suggest something very, very easy. Hari Bhakti Vilas says, Dashadha Japet. Dashadha Japet means chant minimum how many times? 10 times. Now you may be chanting 16 rounds. Agreed. Can you do one thing? Focus on 10 mantras. Can you do that thing? That commitment is required. Okay? I'm not asking for more. Okay? Like first day in a gym instructor doesn't say, now 50 push-ups with attention. No. one push-up with proper attention and posture. So I am only saying this. Hari Bhakti Vilas says Dashadha Japet. Minimum quantity of japa is 10. We have selected 16 rounds, no problem. Can you do 10 Mahamantras with attention? Okay? 10 Mahamantras with attention. Please start with that. But don't fall beyond that. Okay? 10 mantras. I am not saying 10 rounds. Huh? 10 times Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bas, itna. 10 times can you focus? Try. Still you are saying try. Still you are saying try.
I don't know myself. I try my best to do.
No, I am saying can you focus your mind on one mantra?
That's also I'll say, Prabhu, I'll try.
Why? Can't you hear your own voice?
Maybe I'm thinking of, I'm paying attention, but maybe not.
Don't doubt your own self. When you are hearing with attention. You know when you hear with attention, right? So, one mantra confidently can you pay attention to? Yes. Now that's the confidence which is needed. Try it with 10 mantras every day. That's all I am saying. Then gradually 10 is the minimum. Make a sankalpa that in Kartik I will do more. Yes, sir. And doesn't mean that after 10 all others are inattentive. Huh? Don't do like that. Huh? So at least 10 should be very attentive. In one place sit down. Like Prabhupada used to say, sit fast, sit straight, do japa. At least minimum with 10. That will be very helpful in the long run. In 1 year you will see immense progress. And second is, can one go from Goloka to Vaikuntha to higher planets? I have not heard of any example like that. Because there is something in Shastra called as Sthayi Bhav. Sthayi Bhav is one of the components of rasa. So Sthayi means what? In Hindi, what is the meaning of Sthayi? Constant, permanent is called as Sthayi. Once the jiva has a Sthayi Bhav towards any of the forms of Bhagavan, that Sthayi cannot become Asthayi. If it changes, then it will become Asthayi. But the bhav of the jiva is called Sthayi Bhav or Asthayi Bhav? It's called Sthayi Bhav, which means at least there are no cases in Shastra where a jiva has changed their planet. At least there is nothing mentioned in the Shastra about it. What happens there is what happens there. I can't say, but from what is given in the Shastra, interplanetary change of Sthayi Bhav is not mentioned anywhere. That's all. Gopakumar, he moves higher planet because his Sthayi Bhav is Golok Vrindavan. So he is not happy in other planets. Because his Sthayi Bhav is of Golok Vrindavan. So he is experiencing Krama Mukti, gradual liberation. So he is going to every planet. But he is not happy in any planet, so he moves up. But his Sthayi Bhav is in Golok Vrindavan. From there he will not move. So that there is a concept called Sthayi Bhav, which has to be understood for that. So that is the answer to your query. Okay? Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you.